Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today I figured I'm just gonna make a quick video, unscripted, just talking into my regular mobile phone camera rather than actually getting out the good camera and all that. These rants into these phone cameras seem to be the ones that go viral anyway for everybody else. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. I guess maybe today we'll find out. Anyway, today I figured it would be a pretty good day. I was just sitting here thinking about this. I'm going to talk about it right now. What I'm thinking about, and that is identity and the grounding of one's identity in things which are external to oneself. And why, and I'll get into why I find that to be a problem. But first, I should probably talk about what I mean by what I'm saying, or what I'm talking about. So, what I'm talking about is this: our identity is obviously who we are. Your identity is who you are, what makes you you. That's your identity, right? Intuitive, obvious. Seemingly obvious anyway. But if a lot of us are going to try to go about figuring out just what our identity is, because let's be honest, sometimes we have times of identity crisis. We're trying to figure out who we are in this world. I think a lot of the time the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at our relationships as people with the external world. So if I'm going to see who am I might see what is my relationship to other things. You know, how do I treat other people? Might be a pretty good example. How do I interpret information? Might be another one, right? But what's important here is the relationship between me and the external world, and things which are external to me, and where in that relationship I'm finding things to ground my own identity in. And this is not a problem that is simply one that I make. This is one that I think that everybody makes at some point in life, and many are making right now. Is a lot of us ground our identity in things which are external to us, which is the worst when those things which are external to us are things which could be temporary, such as a job or a relationship. Maybe you view yourself as being a person in a relationship having a particular job, but if next year you have a different job and you're in a different relationship, or you're single, you're no longer in that relationship, then these things which you have been grounding who you are in are now gone from you. You've now moved on away from that. So what's going to happen if you've been grounding your identity in your relationship, and I mean obviously an intimate relationship in this case, and you've been grounding your identity in your job, the particular field that you were working in, then if and when you lose these things, you're going to wonder who you are. That's what's going to happen. Is you're going to lose these things that you know as being the things that help make up who you are, and you will thus be wondering who you are. And that's the problem. And I think a lot of us are going to learn that the hard way. So how do we avoid doing this? And I hope I don't sound like I'm just rambling and talking mumbo jumbo to all of you. I made it some of you. But how do we avoid grounding our identity in things which are external to us? We have to figure out what makes up our identity. What makes us us? What makes me me? What makes you you? Very important. The problem with getting advice from me about this is that I'm 23 years old and I barely know who I am. I'm still figuring that out myself. I still have to figure out what my identity is. So to look at examples that I give might not be the most helpful thing you can do for yourself, but what we can do when trying to ground our identity internally is obviously figuring out what aspects of our identity are things which are internal to us, which are unchanging, and what are we putting the most emphasis on in our understanding of who we are as people in this life that we live in. If you earlier I cited the way that you treat people. That's something about who you are. not about the person that you're with or the person that you're treating a specific way in a different type of relationship, friendship, family relationship, intimate relationship, what have you. Doesn't matter. How do you treat people? You need to have traits which are internal within you that don't change depending on the subjects that you encounter. So you need to figure out what those traits are, and you need to emphasize them. Really important not to be a sheeple in this kind of case, right? Really important not to just be in an echo chamber and go with a crowd, because you lose that crowd, you don't know who you are. And I don't think that I have like some really solid answer beyond that. I don't think I really have some solid advice on how you could ground your identity internally. I think you could look for things which are defining characteristics of yourself, and what you can then do is you could try to figure out which things you're going to be putting the most emphasis on in your understanding of your identity, and then of course continue acting upon those things, and therefore making up your identity as an internally grounded one, and being more confident in who you are as a person at the end of it, rather than you would if you were just grounding your identity in things which are external to you. So I hope I haven't been talking in circles, and I hope that I've been making sense. I realize that I may very well have not been making very much sense and talking in circles, so I may have failed epically throughout the entirety of this video, and that's one of the reasons why I would normally go with a script. But in all honesty, it seems like videos that are unscripted and people are just kind of talking into their phone anyway, they seem to be going more viral anyway. So I figured, why go through the time to edit something and take the time to professionalize it when I can just give you the thoughts that I'm having right now, for once, today, and see what the reaction is, see what the feedback is. What do you agree with and disagree with, and what are the takeaways from this? Are there any takeaways from this? Anyway, let me know. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos, as always. I'm Shane the Skeptic, and I hope you have a great day.